Hello everyone! We are back again with more Great Ace Attorneys. We are here in the third case of the the second game, and we're gonna see what's going on here. It's gonna be great, guys. Iris changed her outfit, and this guy's the person. So yeah, let's see what's going on. Zero's first. How you doing, Zero? What's up? The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast capital would be within our reach. So no more hiding in various... Wow! Orc, thank you for the 44 months. That's a lot. And Zerman's here. You're under a minute. How you doing? What's up? Thank you for 44 months. That's an insane thing that you are doing. My gosh. Uh-oh. Gabe sent something. It's been auto-modded. I'll allow it because it's hilarious. I know where your phone is. It's up your butt and to the left. Oh, Gabe. You tease, you. How you doing, Gabe? Almost 4 years. My gosh. Hey, Minim's here and lurking as well. Good to see everyone here. What do you all say to me doing this game, huh? So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days. I don't really see it like that. What do you mean, Iris? Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My word, that's exactly right. What is the implications? What does this mean? You're sitting here, you got some lasagna, you got a naughty cat, and you got the guide. Yay, you need to leave early. Whatever's going on, cancel it, thanks. Anyway, let's keep going. I mean, whatever you're doing, I hope it's cool and awesome and cool and stuff. Oops, look, that's got the Professor Bunny Brain really worried by the look of it. Clearly this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless, the science works, but without a practical demonstration it means nothing, and that's always the fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Hurley's always complaining about it. It says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman, the victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? Tell me more. Tell me more, The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. You playing any games later tonight? Nah, this is it. This is Ace Attorney. I normally stream one game per session, and this is the one today. It's Ace Attorney. It's super good, Gabe. Trust me, my friend. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I think my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then. Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel even. Archangel. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis and for presentation at the Great Exhibition, and if that went well, I could expect additional financial support from my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then, your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion! As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Huh. Was it him, guys? Is he the murderer person? How could this have happened? You must feel awful. As well as a man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too. Oh, guess what your friend told me he said to a girl? Asked her, do you know what's your phone? It's up your butt and to the left, now shut up. That's what happened today, I assume. What a charmer, am I right? You should tell him that. You're such a charmer. Stars is here. How you doing today, Stars? What's up? Captain Chip says, murder. Hope you're doing good today, Stars, as well, though. I know what happened. It must have been that. The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. You're sleepy, just back from Ren Fair? Another Ren Fair trip. I hope it went well today. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change, but instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is. For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Okay, guess that's really all I can do. I'm out of here. Yeah, I don't know why there's not any more information here. I talked with him, 100%. Actually, I could, go back real quick. I'm doing good. I'm surviving. Today's one of those days where I'm surviving. Ah, fascinating, yes. In Japan, where I come from, it's the symbol of a defense lawyer. Wearing it is very bracing, I find. The words make some sense to me, but they are entirely illogical. What do you mean? Well, for example, I find this white laboratory coat that I wear for my work very bracing too. However, in my case, there's a perfectly logical reason for that feeling. Oh, really? What is it? I purchased the wrong size by mistake. This one is too small for me. The sleeves especially are extremely bracing. I can barely move my wrists. That's what you call logical, is it? Of course, it's entirely logical. That's science, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, well, I am stuck. Great. Dr. Press presents something to you. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course. No, not that. The story on the back page. What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not? Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he? There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. But he never explained why the wristband is weird. Strange. He's the murderer, right? Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does. Strangely. There we go. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He is a very capable fighter. But that's incredible. But they were armed with guns. How was he attacked, though? Do we know? It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman, Mr. Odie Asman. Did you say Asman? That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition. Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization. Unbelievable. Ho ho. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seem to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something clearly is going on here. I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. Damn it, internet now? Oh no. Come on, Captain Chips' internet. Come on now. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him. But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died, if not by somebody's hand? Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer, so he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues must be starting to fidget. 11 hours late? That's quite something. The meeting has already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? 11 hours? I would assume he's at his office. Right, I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. Want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course, yes, thank you very much, my lord. Okay. No, not examine. New location. The prosecutor's office. How exciting. Ooh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office. Yes, it appears so. Brrr, it sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere. Oh, is that? Oh, is that him? That hooded figure was so still, I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. Hearing someone say the name Professor Harebrain out loud is kind of glorious. Professor Harebrain. I am saying it right, right? What are you doing here? Ag! Oh, there he is. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. So, who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? Or who's the person? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper. I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself, assuming that such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Alright. Well, hello. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? Hey Charizard! How you doing? What's up? Good to see you here. True. Carried out by henchmen of Odie Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably some hoped to kill me before that happened. Odie Asmon. He's always masquerading as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means, via his criminal activities. Hi. How have you been these days? What have you been up to? He used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper? But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death. I know about that. It was super high voltage, instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Your boyfriend got you some Sentai merchandise and it came with a free gift. Ooh! What'd you get? What kind of merch and freeze did you get? Mr. Asman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion. Come to think of it, given their fancy outfits, it just occurred to you that Van Zieks meant to echo the Von Karma family. Ooh! Wonder if his apprentice will end up looking edgy. Oh, I want to see what he looks like now. Let's see. The gimmick item of the newest show. What's the newest show? I haven't been up on my animu, sad to say. Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you? Free gift was a little piece of Japanese chocolate! The Rangers use rings. Is that the name of it? These names, they are crazy. Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least. It's strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Runo? I mean, what with you taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow? What? You're going to be defending him? Oh, yes, that's right. I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. Albert. Albert Hairbrain. That's right. Do you know him by any chance? Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. You're... What? Well, what? I'd understand that Professor Hairbrain was from Germany, though. Hairbrain, from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research, that's all. So you were students together? I was in the faculty of law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form, and with you of all people representing him. Only if I make it out of this office alive. He actually has been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know, because the prosecution will be handled by me. By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this? If the Reaper's the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed! What's Lord Van Zieks thinking? What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean? I'm a crown prosecutor and mortal, like any other. I'm no demigod. As far as we know. But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal. Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society, people who without question deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them. But that's not true of Mr. Natsumi, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all. Nor was Ginny. In fact, she's ever so hard-working now. I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn, but the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work. Lord Strongheart said that, the name, he believes you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true. The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially. Oh. It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives. Do you mean to say? I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor. But if it's putting you in danger, you could be killed. If that is my fate, let God decide. Lord Van Zieks, Alright, let's examine, the dude. Oh, I can't examine. Oh, yeah, I can. Hey, buddy. Really looks like a punishment to me. I've never seen someone sitting like that before. He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. Do you think perhaps he's dead? If he was dead, Bruno, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he? Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's going to talk to us. He's not dead. He's not dead. He's not. Oh, look, it's a scale model of the Great Exhibition Showground. That's amazing. I wonder why it's here. Perhaps it's made to take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person. Or perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket. Surely it's obvious that I'm using it as an investigative aid. Ah! You Nipponese have no business painting others as overly reserved. Ugh, I really didn't think he'd overhear that. I guess that's everything here, huh? Does his desk have anything? Lord Van Zeek's desk. Look, it's so stylish. And that's a marble chess set behind it. Chess? That's the Western version of our Japanese shogi game, isn't it? You know, I'm actually quite good at shogi problems. Oh, really? You'd probably like chess problems in that case. I'd love to challenge Lord Van Zeek sometime to a bout of shogi problems. If you only really want to challenge yourself, you can always do that on your own home. Alright, I guess we'll present this. Lord Van Zeek's about the article in this paper. Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I had been photographed. It was careless of me. Looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though. Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them. But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it? As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice. Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him. Rugrats like Power Rangers, or Rangers like Power Rangers? Yes, that's exactly what they are. How you doing, Kenny Lee? What's up? He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. His name is Miles Edgeworth. That's right, it's just flat out him, Miles Edgeworth himself. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose. Ah, like you are to Hurley then, Runo? I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective. He's currently compiling a report about the last night's attack. Looks like he's wearing some kind of mask? On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity. But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual? Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions. I hope you're right. By the way, have you heard of the tragic tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? His apprentice killed him. Ain't that crazy? And we're currently on mandatory break. You're on break! Enjoy the break. I wish you could do better things than watch me. But I'm glad you're here, Kenny Lee. It's good to see ya. Ah! The task is complete. Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs. Nice to meet you. Those bats over there? Do you see those? There's bats in the background. Back to work again. You're right, you'll do better things. That would be for the best or whatever. No, this is the best thing. Obviously, watching ulti streams is the #1 bestest thing ever. That was really strange, though. I've never met that man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. There are bats. Bats. Don't try bother to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it. Oh, I see. Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway? Oh no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. What? Hellfire bats? Hellfire Skyrim would love that. Ah yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, what's that? The Nipponese man, is he faring well? Sorry? The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago, with the stoop and the mustache and the jitters. Ah, Mr. Natsumi, you mean? I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you'd identified him from that list, Runo. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day. I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case. Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Sosuke-san, after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried. I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books. A mad scientist? Ah, you mean Professor Hairbrain. Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Alright. Whoops. Obviously, we are done here. Let's go back to the prison real quick. Hey, Hellfire Skyrim. There's bats. That's all. There's bats. How you doing? What's up? Uh-oh, guys. Now where do I go? Sholmes, maybe? Neat. Yep, they were bats. Bats. Captain Chips, I might need your guide help. Because I've done everything. Wait, there could be plot here. But how was your stuff? As a thing, you recently learned of a fan-made Pokemon fighting game. Oh no, a fighting game. I would be rubbish at that. Are you gonna try it out? Oh, what? What to do? I'm so excited about the prospect of Naruhodo's Anything Consultancy open for business again. That's not what it's called. It's Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Done a lot of studying in these past 6 months, reading law texts and judicial procedures. I'm sure I'm a better lawyer now. I can't wait to start practicing again. Nothing changed in here at all, though, has it? It's as though time has stood still since Susie went back to Japan. I wanted to keep it ready for Miss Susato in case she was able to return to Britain at any point. She left everything the way it was. Oh, I see. Right. And there was me thinking it's because of the way you are, Runo. You know, never bothering to tidy up. I mean, Iris, this isn't the time or the place to bring up my tidiness, or lack of it. You just discovered something? Was it the plot? Did you discover, the plot? There's attack, and then there's special attack, decent as it's one of those 2D, 2-button fighting games. I'm terrible at those. Those are, like, the things I avoid as much as I can. Soseki Natsumi was a historical personage. He moved to London for a while about its time period and wrote a children's book called I Am a Cat. That's pretty cool. I am a cat. That is cool. Okay, here we go. That is cool about Natsumi, though. I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days? Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science. Which this book has him quote directly before his second trial. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. What was he like back then? A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, and all-around nice fellow. Really? Sorry, I think you misheard me. Talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Barak von Zieks. What was he like when he was at university? Talk about a leading question, Runo. As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zieks family, with all his great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had quite such a noble blood. Little darling? It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less. Yes, that's right. I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation. Really? What sort of event? Arrgh. I'm sorry. But I don't know anymore. I wasn't even in the country at the time. I was in Germany already. Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zieks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. Hey, Pixel Remy, what's up? How you doing? And Minim is going to bed. Good night. How have you been, Pixel Remy? It's good to see you here too. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying. You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct? Have a good stream. I will. Thank ye. Good night to ya. As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it. Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention, so I know that I'm far from blameless in all this. But still, I would never use my discoveries and my inventions to take a person's life. Not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science. That's all I know. You have to believe me. Please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that, all my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories. But I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law, it's all I know. You have to believe me, please. When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court. Alright, Runo. It's time. Time to visit the great exhibition. Sorry? Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it? Yes, suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. Here we go. What have you been up to today, Pixel Remy? Hopefully up to good things. Welcome to the Crystal Tower. The showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. I've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I felt myself swooning 3 times. There's a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trotted on 3 times too. Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. Here we are underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. Sounds like an argument. Uh-oh. Right. I've had it with you this time. I'm warning you. I'll arrest you this minute. Oh yeah? Go on then, Spectre. Give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence, and you know it. Wait. I know these voices. Those voices. You got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady, but a night in the cells will teach you some manners. Just try it, I dare ya, if you want that bag of chips rammed down your throat. Yoo-hoo! Greg Z, what are you doing up there? Good to see one of these peoples. It's you. Here, you're here. Here you are, you're here. Your ladyship. How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well. Your ladyship? Does that make her 3 times a lady? I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue. Unbelievable. I'll go and have a word with you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying as high as a kite in no time once I pull some strings for you. Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. And for that reason, he can say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely, or there should be. Watch it, sunshine. Sorry. What gives then? Don't tell me you're on this case. Yes, I'm acting for the defense. So we're here to investigate. Dear me, that's the situation, is it? Is it really that troubling? Tis, a measly 5 bob. Is that all you got? She's back too. You're a lawyer, ain't you? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Naruto. What? Hey, that's my last bit of spending money, that is. You can have it back, but I'll have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob. This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago, this is the young girl I was defending in court. What's your problem, eh, Odo? Diver, pickpocket? What's with all the name calling? Want a bag of chips rammed down your throat and all, do ya? I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground. That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Odo. Half a year's long time, people can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. So you'll have to call me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now. Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely. The inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls her that. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us. What's that supposed to mean? Right, well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, alright? Right, sir. This raises a lot of questions. Yeah, sure does. Before that, I've noticed something. What is this thing here? Ah, it looks like though somebody dropped something behind the tree just there. Dropped? Or hid? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded? Maybe. It could have fallen from the platform above in the blast, perhaps? What's going on here? Oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. I think I'll hang on to this, just in case. Mysterious contraption. Looks like a thing that shoot guys. What are those called? Crossbows? Ah, there's some sort of lever here. Aha! It is. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. Well. This groove here must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. So I was right. It's a sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. This would be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with a bowstring 2 times out of 3. In fact, if I had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Kazuma in Kyudo archery training. Something to think about, I guess, eh? It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina in connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder. I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. The diving weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Ginny. Well done! Interesting. It is. So you went from being a pickpocket to a detective. You got it. Good, innit? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book, eh? Talk about a sea change. And then there's Iris's old man to think about. Iris's father, you mean? Yeah, promised her, didn't I? Said I'd get all the police forensics around the world to pull out all the stops looking for him. Just a small promise then, nothing serious. Oh, Ginny, you're so sweet. So anyway, that's how come I had a go at the test for Scotland Yard. Only trouble is I don't read so well, do I? Just a small problem, nothing serious. That's when Hurley approached Gregsy and asked for help. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Ginny and make her a sort of apprentice. Another apprentice? For the record, Inspector Lestrade was basically an incompetent Scotland Yard inspector in Sherlock Holmes. Really? So, this is that person of that story then? Dr. Gregsy Brave. Well, you know, Hurley, he enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants. The great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words. So, the long and short of it is, if you've got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade. Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there? Oh, what, Runo, what? Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet here she is still... Come on, you're not still on about that, are ya? The Legend of the Reaper or whatever it's called. Core, you don't have worry, Odo. If I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left. It's like I told you before, innit? The Reaper's kind of like upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside. That I ain't really done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong might be stretching a point. What about Mr. Natsumi in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he? Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought. Be right back. Gotta put your dinner away. Okay. Loving the references here. Awesome. I ain't worried. I'm totally fine. Core, it was out of this world, it was. The brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on his machine and suddenly it started billowing smoke. Then it just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment here yet. Sorry? You mean you saw it, Ginny? With your own eyes? Yeah, of course. The boss is in charge here, ain't he? Of keeping everything running smooth, I mean. The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. It's going to take some getting used to. So all I have to say is that I'm on duty, and I can do whatever I want to. Get this, I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. No, you're so lucky, Ginny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it. You know how to put the boss in his place already, right, Iris? You had no trouble at all. Then it's settled. When do I start? No. You can't join Scotland Yard, Iris. We'll see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how can Professor Bunnybrain still be claiming that his experiment was a success? Oh, right. Well, it was a success, in a way. It was? How can it have been? Successful? Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success. It's like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a load of smoke and then the whopping great big bang. But what do you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the Crystal Tower over there. What? In the tower? Well, you can see it for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold. Oh, were all the glasses broken, you mean? Yeah, the cage what the victim got in to start with really did get beamed through the air or whatever and landed all the way over there. So, you see, it did kind of work, didn't it? What? I don't believe it. I mean, I don't get the ins and outs of it, but anything's possible, right? With science. Oh, I tell you what, you can have this. It's a plan of the experiment they drew up on the yard, at the yard. Are you sure? Yeah, go on. I had 3 bob off before, so fair's fair. Yes, I didn't actually give that to you, did I? So that's it. beam, 2 balloons, shoot there. Sure. Something Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us. Yes, naughty old Gregsy ran off after that without explaining himself. Oh, right, that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. Well, that's not fair. We're representing the defendant. In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learnt from your investigations? Nah, you're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate either. Why? Why? What did the boss call him again? The forensics investigation team, I think? Anyway, apart from them lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. Bit funny, innit? So even if Scotland Yard's own detectives can investigate, yes, never heard of something like that before. I thought I could have a gander on the quiet though, but the boss caught me at it. You probably heard him giving me an earful about it before from down here, didn't ya? Not bleeding fair. I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it. Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all them chips what make him so stubborn. You say something to him, Odo. Go on, see if you can get through to him. He's up on the platform above us, isn't he? Where the machine that exploded is? We can try, can't we, Runo? Gregsy will listen to us. Okay. Move. Nope, can't move yet. Anything else to look at, do you think? Maybe the rubble? For some reason, the ground is damaged in this spot. Look, almost as if there was a fire here or something. Yes, if you look closely, there's some scattered ash and burnt embers too. I suppose there was a big explosion just above here. People probably wouldn't bat an eyelid at the small fire like this would have been. I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, Runo. Well, Crystal Tower, maybe? The Crystal Tower, certainly an apt name, was built to be the focal point of the exhibition. And it definitely is, being so tall and with all the glass. I can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan. There are lots of exhibits inside the tower as well, apparently. Of course there's an observation deck, but there's also an art gallery, a zoo, and a museum. But I heard you had to queue for 3 hours just to get through the doors. Well, at the moment, the shattered glass from the failed experiment may well be the biggest draw. And thanks to that accident, the whole tower is shut. Suddenly, it's not the Crystal Tower anymore, but the Crystal Glass Shower. Apparently, everyone's seeking the skies now to look down on the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up in a balloon now. Londoners must be very patient people. Ugh. Too long. Too long a wait. This platform must have been set up for the experiment, I suppose. It's very high up. About the 30 feet above the ground, apparently. That's what the policeman I just spoke to said. I don't really understand feet very well. We don't use them in Japan. Oh yeah, sorry, it's about 9 meters. But soon you'll have been in London a year, Runo. Time you got used to our measurements. Yeah, yosh. Yosh. Yeah, well, yes. That thing is so tall the spectators at the front would just have seen the wall and nothing else. They probably thought they'd secure the best spot to watch from, only to be disappointed. There's a saying in Japan, the darkest spot is right under the lighthouse. I feel like it probably applies here. Well, lots of, what's this? These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. Up we go. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up. Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share. You've seen things like this before, you mean? Of course, Hurley's always doing experiments and ending with a bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry. Ah, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. One time he made something that exploded with such force it took the roof off the building. Wish you'd been there to see it, Runo. It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof. Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate. Yeah. Ah, look, Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully. Really? He just looks confused to me. Alright, Gregsy. What you doing? It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it? Magnificently and mercilessly. So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air. Yes, beamed. Not blasted. That's the point. Yes, that part's crucial. Really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris? Oh, Runo, I'm just a child. How should I know? A child when it suits you, you mean? From what I can tell, I think if you were to pull this lever here... Stop! Don't touch that! Ahaha, that was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over just now, Gregsy. Please, your ladyship, I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here. So sorry, you can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it. Glug, 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 glug. Oh, wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful. It's just like old times, this is. But do we want it to be like old times? We're representing Professor Hairbrain in court tomorrow, Inspector, so we should be allowed to examine the scene. Ah, listen, Sunshine, even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here. It's that blasted special dispensation for scientific equipment act to blame, driving me potty. Oh yes, that special disposition. The professor mentioned that too. More red tape, all we need. I don't know what's what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes. But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Bah. Surely that's alright, isn't it, Gregsy? Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship, but please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you? Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Runo? Surely knows how to get what she wants. Clever kid. Alright. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body, and then beam him across to the Crystal Tower, it's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public. True, it was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition. Mind, to be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean. The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. They can be the first to develop some new technology and makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see? Yes, I suppose that's true, in a way. So the powers that are placing a heavy emphasis on scientist rights at the moment. What sort of rights? They're making it so that any theories the brains have remain their legal property, as it were, right through developing it into a practical idea and even going into production, which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch the crime scene. Because the new highfalutin special dispensation for scientific equipment act forbids it. Ah, I see now. Only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department in the yard. The Forensics Investigation Team, it's called. They've been relegated to keeping guard. Forensics Investigation Team. Any old fool can see that this heap of scrap metal was a sham to begin with. Just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it. Poor Gregsy. He's very head up, isn't he? Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here? Are you having me at it, Sunshine? It's the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Yes, I think Hurley's mentioned that recently, with a real twinkle in his eyes, I remember? I'm sure he did, your ladyship, I'm sure he did. Past especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, it's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality. What does that really mean? Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibit. Although, a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shamers like yourself. Thanks for that. Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's all so fun. It might be fun to you, but a member of the force has to be present in every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? Have Aang science, that's what I say. Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job. So, you should think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these slammers' bogus contraptions. But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point. Yeah, well, there's a point, sadly. Sorry? Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. When any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant. The scientist gets some funding? Exactly. That's what they're all after all these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. Who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science, hang it. Oh, maybe I can see your point. Alrighty. One more. Apparently Professor Harebrain lives and works in Germany, now conducting his research. That's right, came back to Britain especially for the great exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government research for grants. Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education. It turns out he was at university with someone we both know. Lord Van Zieks. What's that? That's news to me. But Van Zieks means the prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is sealed because of the Reaper will get to him one way or another. Blimey, the man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zieks, this morning's paper ran a story of him being attacked. Read that? Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper's completely fine. Nothing to worry about. The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman, he was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard. Lord Barak Van Zieks is a top-class prosecutor, but even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win. Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified, and that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it? Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zieks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court. Although the man himself denies the charges. Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we've reached is that Lord Van Zieks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would. But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't just have coincidentally died if nobody killed them. I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of this Reaper. Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind. You what? He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was? No clue. Really? Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh? Well, let's get investigating. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. Should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think. touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, you hear? I won't touch a thing, I promise, so please spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims? Yes, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, Sunshine. We were allowed to examine all this bleeding crap metal. Or scrap metal, maybe we should answer that question. But we can't we? Because of the annoying rules, you mean? Exactly, the annoying, obstructive, flaming rules. Oh, look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh. It's a screwdriver, I think. Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle is in the shape of a capital letter A. It is? Oh yes, you're right. What is the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touch anything and I'll make sure I'll kill you before I get strung up myself, I said. Yes, I understand. Sorry, I only touched it a teeny weeny bit. But Gregsy, I'm very curious about the screwdriver. Really very, very curious. Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it. But Runo found it first. I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly. Bye. He's gone off with it. That was very mean. I'm afraid Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in the next month's installment now. Poor Gregsy. Poor Gregsy, indeed. Alright. What do we got, fellas? Anything new, do you see? I don't see anything new. Am I stupid, guys? Maybe if I present things, do you think? As a detective, what do you make of this? Personally speaking, 9 times out of 10 I find clues turn out to be red herrings. There's every chance that's totally irrelevant. It's actually a fairly persuasive argument. Nope. Spectre, have you read this paper? Yeah, 2 unwelcome blasts back to back. This one at the exhibition and the Reaper getting attacked. I know, terrible news to wake up to, wasn't it? I tried to pretend I hadn't read it and turned over for another 40 winks. Thanks to that, I was up laid up and got roasted from the super. Some mornings are like that, aren't they? Well, that wasn't it. Captain Chips, you might need the guide at the ready. I have done everything now. What is that gigantic thing over there? Looks like an enormous water wheel. Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins, you can see. Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery. Wait, it's turning? It looks completely still. Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour. If you were mad enough to go on one, it would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? No. I feel nice, feel as though you'd have to just invented a new sort of ride there, Runo. Yep. Yes, you did. There are all sorts of strange buildings here at the great, exhibition grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time. Oh, in your country, Runo? I do wish I could go and see it. I present a particularly steely samurai with a present of one of Hurley's stories I've written especially, and see if I can get Hurley into a jam against some Bartitsu Master Ninjas. You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think. Oh, well, that's dull. Oh, but I know what a prosecutor would with a Chan Mage top knot I could introduce you to. A Chan Mage, really? Think I could have my picture taken with him? Do you? Assuming he's recovered from the trim Kazuma gave him a year ago. Yes. And the other trim. The other bit of shame he got. Oh, I have to look up. I didn't see that. Chanmage? Well, luckily I don't. That word is not used all that often, so I think I'll unlearn that word as fast as I can. That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing toward the crystal tower. Suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they're shot out of that thing to wherever they're going. I don't think this was supposed to shoot anything, Runo. It was set up to beam people to the crystal tower, where they'd be reconstructed in their original form. Well, I don't like the look of it. If it was as amazing as it looks, the accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course. I suppose that's true, yes. But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? Nope. Never, ever, ever. So those are people carrying balloons, dangling silently in the skies over London. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly, but I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful, floating tamari handballs. I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Runo. Please! If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. But without a cast iron guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared. Oh well, in that case, I should tell you what Hurley said. If it's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode. You know, that helps. Yes, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little. I don't know. Most of me doesn't want to ride a hot air balloon. Did I present this, guys? I think I did. Alright. What do we examine, guys, and what do we talk to? Because it looks like I am done, but I'm also not done. What am I missing, Captain Chips? Let's hear it. What am I missing? Whew. While you're typing it, I can wake myself up a bit. There's a piece of green cloth on the ground somewhere. On this screen? Or a different screen? Do you know where the green cloth is? Because I see no green cloth anywhere. A different screen. Can you tell me which screen that is? Just to speed things along. Here, do you think? Oh, that guy's gone. It's in fact an experimentation stage. Oh boy. Alright, I'm back down here again. That's good. No, you're right. It is green cloth. Oh look, what's this? A ripped piece of cloth. It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. I examined that area though. I have to touch it exactly. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable. It's canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber backing, and the edges appear to be a bit charred as well. Maybe that means it has something to do with the explosion. Let's make a note of it while Ginny's mid-yawn. Yay. Is that it? Whoops. Do I also need to examine the clock thing here? That's where the Cove ended up after his instant kinesis or whatever they call it dead, of course. And yet they're calling the experiment a success. What's the wooden scaffold there for? The coppers, our lads set that up after the incident happened. To get the body down, I think. Dunno, really. Didn't you help to erect that scaffold then? Nah, lookout duty's more my thing. Wandering around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff. Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that, or he'll give you the boot. It's incredible, though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have banged that gap by some sort of bridge that gap by some invisible kinesis? We should examine this, maybe. It looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. Never seen anything like it before, but applying Mr. Sholmes' methods, I might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet, and the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Runo, listen! What is it? I've been thinking. Hurley might know something, mightn't he? About what? About Mr. Reaper. About what happened to Lord Van Zeeks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from the university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he? Here, this is what you need. What's this? Some kind of an entrance ticket? Madame Tussbells. Is this supposed to mean something to me? You don't know it? It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We can go now if you like. No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow. No. But that's where Hurley is. What? At this popular London attraction? Yes. How is that you know where he is? Hurley told me, but he told me to keep it a secret from you, Runo. Madame Tussbells. I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here. But then, stranger things have happened, and when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. Are we out of here, guys? Because I think we out of here. It's Madame Tussauds Museum of Wax. Oh. I have not read the Holmes and Watson stuff, so I don't know these references. I'll have to point them out as I go on. It's a famous New York attraction. Oh, I've never heard of it. Oh well. Wow. Maleficent? Or Beauty and the Evil Stepmother person? What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. But why are all these people so still? Guillotines? Ruthless murderers? I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models! They're amazingly realistic! You recognize that one? You don't know if there's one in London? They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Runo? Shocked? What, wax models? Ag! I read about dead bodies and wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called, adipocer. Stop talking about creepy things like that, Runo. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipocere doesn't form readily. Ag! What now? I've just remembered something else I read in another magazine about strange phenomenon. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits here are real. Idiot. They're all entirely man-made replicas. They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them. You recognize? Which one do you recognize? Oh! There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait. What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. The one with the woman sending over the maid girl, that's Elizabeth Bathory, Baroness who bathed in the blood of beautiful young woman and attempted to stay eternally young. Ew. Gross. Gross. Is this some infamous murderer? Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All her victims were young women. I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure signs of a murderer. Well, yes. Arg! What's the matter, Runo? I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with the blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. Doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry, I don't think it's significant. That's a weirdly common trope, honestly. What's a common trope? Still think it has to be there for a reason. Creepy, huh? What's that hand? Is this an arm? It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over? You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here? Do you? Villainous woman during the murder young woman bathed in the blood thing. Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. Bruno, stop scaring me! It is a wax arm or a real one. Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels. Objection. Those models are so well made, I can't tell what's a waxwork and what's a real human. Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly start moving about. Just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. What's this last one here? Is that an example of Western Sujigiri? I don't know what that is. You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword? I still don't know. No! But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Runo? Doing that Sujigiri you mentioned? Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. And this looks familiar, though I don't know what he's wearing. It's the great detective Mr. Sherlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really? Well, he is world famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? Makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know! But look, Runo, you can kick this Hurley and it doesn't move a muscle. You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure. Not just a little bit either. That'd be Jack the Ripper, that one. The one on the left there. Jack the Ripper. Really? Did it? And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look, there's a great murder scene to enjoy, much more appealing. My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes? I knew it. Why is he dressed like this, guys? That's weird. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? That's great work, dude, but why are you dressed like Inari? Good question. And that kick, could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me. But Runo has something he needs to ask you. Ah, question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? You should know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually I'm in quite a hurry, and if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum, a most fascinating case if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it's related to the matter about which you've come to me now. But how could it be? We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow, but for now I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Alright. Madam. What is this place? Madame Tuspels came to London from France for 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular street of the Tuspels family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks, a victim of the guillotine. Whatever way you say that word. Ugh, that sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the executions. That really turns my stomach. That's just one of several legends about the Tuspels family. Whether there's any truth in it, I cannot say. But anyway, this museum now houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the great exhibition. People usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows, so they're even stiffer now than the models of them. Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So the hideous exhibits in here are... They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them. Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare them. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'd happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous Iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo. What's he threatening to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. You're back. Why is he wearing that? Good question, Stars. He's part of the wax exhibits, apparently. And that requires this outfit for some reason. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril. Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound like a lot like a curse? Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zieks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust. Yep. So I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zieks, about Professor Harebrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been at the university together. So I'm wondering what it is that happened to make Lord Van Zieks such a different person. I was sure that you'd know, Hurley. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and then you believe it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. The apprentice? The apprentice. I know, right? Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable... Greetings. Oh. Oh. Ah, hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? I hope you are appreciating my museum. Sorry, have we? Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again. Something was afoot. No, I think it's a leg. Something was afoot and a leg. Well, I'll come back though. My apologies. I am Esmeralda Tuspels. This is my museum of waxwork. What? You're the Madame Tuspels? Tuspels? Bien, sir. Though only 26 years young, I might add. Is that significant somehow? I'm a madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes, then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. Oh boy. She sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zieks now? Let's not forget what Hurley said before, about something being afoot. Right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but... I'm so curious, I want to know what's happening here. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Alright. The waxworkses. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tuspels? I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know. Gosh. It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checquard, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did, though that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that led to the astonishing lifeless. All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. Heh. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions, that is the secret to the extraordinary likeness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry. This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. So many French words. I know. I don't speak French. I barely speak English. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians, some for every taste, I hope. It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things. What's the situation with that? My temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal. Oh, what sort of business proposal? My dear madam, what these Sparks exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Or words to that effect. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective. It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it. Yes, that creme de la creme, so I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree agree terms. Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services? For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment. Or words to that effect. Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead. Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent. I've a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning. Or words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem. Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Something afoot. I wonder, could I ask you something? Bien, sir. I'm just curious, is there anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Whoever suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little. Oh, he's disappeared? A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade. Ah! There you are. Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down? My dear Madame Tuspel, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem that we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why ever not? She's turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings, though please be aware that I prefer... No, I must insist upon payment in advance. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain? That is the Tuspel special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it. Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a special killer, then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Ah, absolutamente none. There is nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madam. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? Ah! I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens. Your timer's up. Aw, good night, Captain Chips. See you tomorrow. Good luck with what you're doing with bed. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a soup can. Oh boy, what are we gonna see, guys? Graveyard. I must confess I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Tuspel special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What is strike one, however? Oh boy. Is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. Now is that a real person? Well then perhaps Mr. Sholmes, that the man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even a waxwork, in fact. What? As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that the sizable business transaction has been taking place in the special exhibit. Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. Ah! She looks as pale as a candle wax. I don't understand. So, Madame Tuspels, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Well, here we go. Waxworks Fate. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast. It would seem, Madame Tuspels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by the public notice. Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of £200. I feel like this would be a funny bit as the Ren Fair's temporary exhibit title. It would be fun. It would be cool indeed. Now let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. When dealt the man such a shocking blow, what was, of course, the £200, it would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of £200. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extraordinary amount he was paying, but the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Ah. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not played with regret. Why does clothes transform there? Waxwork location. What? That's weird. The waxwork the question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes at me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief, such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards. But... Next, we turn our attention to the old man set before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact as if he were a waxwork. Ah, but your reaction, it only confirms my suspicion, madam. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence, a tragically low price, you might say, though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks is riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant £200. The sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam? I do not... Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Well, that's something, huh? This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Alright. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. I see I've stunned you all into silence. You have, Hurley. You have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot. If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the notorious Naruhodo, 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit features this old policeman. So, that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer. What would it... The killer policeman, Ottermole. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit has disappeared into the aether. And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermole. So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be? Indeed, it is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well. But is £200 a lot of money for wax model? A wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective. So it is quite a lot, then. Is there anything else you wish to add before I melt you down? That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright, to make some minor corrections in the great detective's great deductions. Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Tuspells vents her anger. Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Tuspells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Hold it. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In estimation, some £200. That is all my own money. So where does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Tuspells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the public notice. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true, but I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks even for 200 pounds. Oh? She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything. For that much money, I would, but it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance. Let's save just in case. It's been a while since I saved anyway, so... Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it. Alright. Glance at... Well, it's not that, obviously. I can only... What's this? Note on the wall. What's that note doing pinned on the wall there? Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Tuspels, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd of October. What? It's just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped. Yes, it's a ransom note. Exactly. Well, guys, I think it's this.
Take that!
Whoa. What are you wearing? Ryunosuke. What is your clothes? The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note. Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inevitabiliness abducting a waxwork. Ag! 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have. In summary, then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who was the portly gentleman who stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man had suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. So if a waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? We could just ask him when he comes around. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the dedication process, Iris. Yes, you're right. Harley's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Tuspels trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. But first, let's save. Alright. Hand of Madam. Oh, geez, there's a hand here. This is just Madame Tuspel's right hand, isn't it? Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all. Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look. Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean it's made of wax? Ho, 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 ho.
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow. How? How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand. Ah! And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madam. It's the hand of a waxwork model. Gah! Oh, creepy. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and it cause damage. So you mean that arm? Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try and remove it as a souvenir. No small keepsake. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I'm afraid I had to teach the man a lesson. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result, the scene we see before us, he was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in the special exhibit has been kidnapped. Kidnapped. Solved. Next. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly... What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway. A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity. Yes! It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard that Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away. Well, uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course. Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tuspel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. Oh, crap. I should have, but I did not. I've seen hats like this in Japan as well. They're called flat caps, aren't they? Yes, or hunting caps. Hurley's hat is called the deer stalker, by the way. Hunting, stalking. The British certainly seem keen on catching game. Oh no, I can't save it here either. Every time I see a deer stalker, I automatically think of Mr. Sholmes, but a flat cap makes me think of a Japanese country gentleman somehow. In other words, people from all walks of life wear all different types of hats, so that doesn't really help us. Nope. There's the neckerchief, sign, pictures, lamp. What the? The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be. Well that settles that then. Right? This isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down. His arm's been? Of course, that ties in with what we just found out. Take that! Hey DJ Drone! How you doing today? Welcome back to the stream. Happy Mother's Day. How has your day been? Did you tell your mother, Happy Mother's Day? I hope so. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth, of that I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, as the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds, a waxwork model. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. But yeah, how are you? Yes, you did? Attaboy. Good. Give me a second, guys. Okay. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be? Your day's been good? I'm glad your day's good. Hope you spent it goodly. And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? Next, we shall turn our attention to the old man set before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact as if he were a waxwork. But you... The reaction only confirms my suspicions, madam. Compliment game. I like her costume. I like that she looks like an amazing epic witch. And that's my compliment of the game. I noticed it once, of course. Observe. The telltale signs that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. A killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known? It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Tuppence isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garrideb's delightful lodgings, in fact. Let's save the game now. You're gonna lurk? Alrighty. No problem. Talk to you soon. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? The waxwork then somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this crusty old policeman Ottermole? Really? Guess we should have a look around again and see if another idea pops up. Oh dear. Oh dear, guys. Twitch? Follow me on Twitch, guys. And now sleep time. Oh, are you going to bed too, Stars? See you soon! Be awesome, be amazing! Look at this! The old man's tapping his foot like crazy. He seems to be fast asleep, though. He's not tapping his foot consciously, then. So you mean, it must be a twitch. Never mind that. The point is, waxworks don't tap their feet. Or twitch. And look at his arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we? I guess it's the twitch.
Take that!
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch, even though most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, the splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives, then. And there you have it. Well, Madame Tuspels? Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence? No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at the local market. And I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduce from the very beginning, Detective. So it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth. Spin! The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the models were about to remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Still a mystery. Woo! Another thing done. That was fun. Wasn't it? Wasn't it? All sorts of people visit my museum here, men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Your great deductions were even more enchanting than I had been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madam. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I've no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically, it was. Then I would ask you to recount to us the details surrounding the stolen waxwork, in as much detail as possible, if you please. Very well, but after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish. Alright, let's talk. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now, when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found a ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken it during the night and taken it then? So this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose? Of a particular horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor. Not a name I've heard of. So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry? The Professor case happened at around this time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly the time that Baron Barak von Zix graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying... So, the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life... As you surmised, it was the Professor case. Who was this Professor, then? Okay. Big stuff's happening. It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. And now he is immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Hurley? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Members of nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration. Members of the... Ah, wait, of course. What Professor Harebrain said. Lord Van Zieks is from a family with noble blood. Oh gosh! It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint Van Zieks. No, I don't believe it. Van Zieks? Welp. I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today. I had no idea Lord Van Zieks had such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit. I am afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involving you coming to visit me here. Ah. It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barak. Barak? It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Empson. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow, the court will decide. Yes, I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident, a terrible accident. He has assured me he can prove it. I must warn you. Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barak, are you really? What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barak. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. Whew. There are a few people in chat still. Is there anyone chat lurking who knows this game well? Cause I might need some help on the trial that's about to take place. If not, I might have to look up a guide for the future. If I get stuck, guys, and if no one's here to assist or give me clues, then yeah. Sadly, it will be guide time. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court, and now here I am back at the Old Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo. Good morning, Professor Harebrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time that I'm here, that gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me that it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, yes. Well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life. To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. He's still wearing that outfit. Same for Iris, too. That was very mean, Runo, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Is it? Are you? Herlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir, I am he. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Ah yes, Rents magazine is on sale in Germany too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deductions in the adventures of Silverblaze was wonderful. Ah yes, a memorable case indeed. It's concerned a snake, as I seem to recall. No, that was the Speckled Band. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh, I have urgent business at Madame Tuspel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then, you understand? Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Ooh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite definitely, absolutely. I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Harebrain. Oh, why, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation as such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley! Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Runo, but chin up, you can do it! Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once.
We're on our way. So no Iris either, huh? An experiment at the laws of science can't possibly succeed, and a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to this case. Wonder who the jurors are this time around. I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna hold my hand up. Okay. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Prosecutor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. He's still wearing that outfit. So weird. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more... Oh. What the heck was that? Get up there. I'm without Susato-san today. I'm alone. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odi Asman. Mr. Asman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zieks, but the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it, these powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on the 21st of October, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well, then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I'm more grateful to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. Science experiments, magic conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances.
Any spurious scholar that defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang.
We have to listen to what said on both sides, the fence, and then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? Oh, the sleeping cop.
Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all.
That's the police killer Uttermole lookalike again. He's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you are all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world, will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So,
Your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zieks.
At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world.
One of science's latest developments, I take it? The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage.
The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis.
Good lord!
It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled.
Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility?
Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure.
Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking.
The whole idea is absurd. Our hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny.
Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field?
I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock.
So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible.
What is the prosecution's view on the matter?
The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success.
What?
What rot!
Order!
Professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it's deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Esmond's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant.
But...
This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim.
Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims.
Gladly, my lord.
Whoosh. Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand.
Alright, who are they? Oh, okay.
Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation.
Albert Harebrain, scientist.
You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct?
Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition.
What you demonstrated was incredible, alright. An incredible explosion.
But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was the terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success.
Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensics investigation team.
Oh boy. The judge, this was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less.
That's right, my lord. It seems the victim rammed straight into it.
I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence.
Doodaloo. As the courts heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Asman. There has been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, he was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself.
I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct?
Exactly.
But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right, it must be it. My splendid machine. My poor, splendid machine.
You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the special dispensation
for Scientific Equipment Act.
What? The wreckage? The wreckage?
But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simple, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness?
What? Sorry? Me?
No, your neighbor. Yes, sir, it was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with a complete certainty.
What? How can they possibly think that?
Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment have been a front for murder.
Witness testimony.
The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck.
I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake.
But the post-mortem examination reveals another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fellow's the only one who could have done it. An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart? Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused.
No, and no. That couldn't be further from the truth.
I have here an experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the birdcage, ready to be beamed instantly to the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into the operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window.
My word, one assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower then. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, swear, it was just an accident, a terrible accident.
Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart.
Murder weapon? What are you saying?
This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Her request is granted, counsel. I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. And the only other person on the stage with Mr. Assman was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Can I see the thingy? 47, time of death, 21st October, 2:20 p.m. The coroner was Courtney Sith.
Courtney Sith. Why is that important, I wonder?
Hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. A broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from an impact after sudden fall from the considerable height. Okay.
Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. The corpse that was crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck.
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly, which highlights something else about this whole rum business.
What's that?
The fact that this instantaneous kinesis itself was a success.
Ah!
After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster?
I made minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake.
Hold it!
So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally?
Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out.
Only you got it wrong, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated that I can make a mistake. Or even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Ansem was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah. Crackling comets. Comets. The answer should have been 3. So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third.
But the post-mortem examination reveals another injury, a fatal wound.
Hold it!
Another fatal injury? You say?
How does it make any sense?
Didn't think I'd have to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it?
Too right.
Obviously, at first we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well.
But you're saying that's not the case?
You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips if you don't keep butting in every few seconds.
But we all know that's a bottomless bag.
The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. Would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right? That's what we all thought, but it was a red herring, wasn't it? There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart.
Hold it!
The defense knew nothing of this crucial information.
The prosecution received this report from the forensics investigation team only this morning. That was the first we know of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense.
Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the accuser's tools that were used in the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This.
Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver.
Ah! There he is. My trusty little companion, Andrew.
Andrew?
Of course.
Do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends. Like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. You're one big happy family. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead.
Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank.
That isn't...
It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt.
No.
That's not all. The long, sharp-edged shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound.
What?
Order! Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
So one of Professor Hairbrain's tools is the murder weapon.
Great.
So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fellow's the only one who could have done it. Alright, let's do some examinams. This is blood, Mr. Esmond's, no doubt. That is the problem with looking at murder weapons. I've seen this unusually shaped letter before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine, which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. Okay.
Think it was fired from this thing, guys? 'Cause I bet it was.
Hold it!
What grounds do you have for saying that? Ha, do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on the public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Asman, and the accused, Professor Harebrain. As we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it.
Good Scott or whatever.
Excuse me.
Professor Harebrain, do you have some information that might be relevant here? Professor.
Sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate the molecules in the human body.
And the witness stand is the best place for that. It seems as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark.
Yes, that's right. Of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh?
I don't know, but there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Asman as you say.
Explain, please, Professor.
Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins.
I had heard.
Then surely you see, if I plunged something the size of Andrew's into the man's chest, the whole stage of it would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool.
Ah.
But the thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time, and yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood.
Well, no, I suppose not.
You see? Not one.
True, I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument.
Alright. All's good.
Order! A drink to toast his failure. His, loserness. 'Cause I won the case, right? Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's deucing. Here's to you, Albert.
Oh, you're too kind, Barak, but I'm really not a patch on you.
Oh. No, you're not.
No?
You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility.
I have?
A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Ah, of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with this?
Very well. We'll amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson.
Crap. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air.
Hold it!
Why would you think that, Inspector? With any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that profuse bleeding occurs. While it's still lodged in the body, it acts as a stopper of sorts, for want of a better word. I see. You don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. It's common knowledge for any investigator.
Ugh, where's Susato-san when you need her?
If you ask me, this bloke masked what he was doing from the view with his body before stabbing Asman within the chest. Then he beamed the victim off the stage with his fancy device, the screwdriver, still where he planted it.
I would never do such a thing. Not to my precious tools. I would never use them for such dirty work. You only use tools for their intended purpose. That's common knowledge for any scientist.
The fact remains that lack of blood at the scene can easily be explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated.
So that's all the testimony I have to work with. I have no idea the victim has been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Van Zieks keep that to himself until now on purpose, to gain the advantage? Or well, I suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible.
Well, I pressed them all. Does that mean I gotta press him more? Well, let's just save and start presenting things. Hey, the arrow!
Objection!
The screwdriver, for some reason. You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about the screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it on the scene ourselves on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grail. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was clear he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. The screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Ah! That's right, it should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Asman, and been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Ugh! Wag! Ordar! How do you explain this, Inspector? I don't... Looks as though everything that the victim had on his person and moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously, that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, they're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, it can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zieks is stumped. Oh. Who said that? Do you have something to say, witness?
Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry.
About what?
Without delving into details, there is no inconsistency.
What?
Even if Andrews has been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations.
What?
What?
Toss. It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accuser's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Just when I found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provide us with the scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Of Apollo? Apollo Justice, maybe? Wow. Alright, here we go.
To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point I just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible.
Can I see Was there a metal thing on him? Is his glasses metal? And the buttons on his jacket? Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based on his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage despite the victim being found elsewhere is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. A great hypothesis holds, you see. We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain?
Yes?
Whose side are you on here?
I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist after all.
Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend.
Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. To be clear, I'm still at a stage of gathering data in my research.
And yet your retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way.
No scientist can find the truth without first finding self-belief. Those were the words of a certain scientist I hold the very highest esteem.
But you realize that disproving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you?
No scientist should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. More words of the same great scientist, you know?
Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is this scientist?
I'm afraid I cannot tell you, Mr. Naruhodo. But as soon as I remember the magnificent genius's name, you'll be the first to know.
It might be worth keeping the names of your idols to mind. You're wasting your breath, my learned friend. The scatterbrain even forgets my name at times.
So Lord Van Zeeks really did have a friend once, but I didn't notice hell freezing over. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal throw, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put.
Hold it!
Your hypothesis states it, so that this isn't proven then? No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based upon thousands of calculations. But it is widely known that metals cannot be decomposed by Yes, of course, so I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct.
What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy?
It's the whole reason that the birdcage is made of wood, you see.
Sorry, the birdcage?
Yes, that's what I call the sea obtusa cage in which Mr. Asmund was placed for the kinesis.
Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. It does indeed seem to be made of timber of some sort.
I'll thank you not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship.
In short, any weapon lodged in the victim was he was beamed away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage as if it were made of metal, correct?
Yes, that's it. Yes. It all fits perfectly with the mathematical model.
But the ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone has the opportunity to inflict the fatal injury on the victim, is it not?
Ah,
indeed, sir. Someone beam me out of this nightmare.
In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all.
You seem to be pleased by that.
Yes, another example of my hypothesis holding true. But I sense some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased?
No.
I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Asmund losing his life. The advancement of science is no excuse. I know that.
No, you're quite right. Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Esmond?
Oh, well, no, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times, and we only ever discussed my hypothesis and the project, and the research grant, of course. Mr. Esmond was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible.
Hold it! How did you come to know Mr. Esmond in the first place?
A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work.
That's a scientific journal? Good gracious, I should need new spectacles.
I might have an extraordinary hypothesis and a great promise, but at the time, I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered-down water out of a tiny little glass. But Mr. Esmond read the paper and came to visit me at my tiny little laboratory.
And offered you money to help fund your work.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Esmond provided me with an engineer for the practical. And the 3 of us produced that fantastic machine together.
The machine that you brought to the great exhibition to demonstrate.
We had to apply to the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to exhibit, I think. I did not understand all that side of things. Mr. Esmond took care of it all. He was a wonderful man. Really, I owe him everything. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together.
Hold it!
When you say that you built the machine together, does that mean you were involved in this construction?
Yes. Well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself, so the physical construction was done by an engineer.
Little remains of your creation now, though. Following the explosion, repair will no doubt be impossible.
Yes, I realize that, but still, if someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. But Mr. Esmond and I toiled over that machine for so long, we put our hearts and souls into it. I have to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident.
Damn. I do not know for this one.
That's the extent of the testimony then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him to do any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit, but it seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder, what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed?
Maybe this one? Do the picture and then point out either the buttons or the glasses, assuming those are made of metal.
Objection!
Okay, thank goodness. Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Spot on, exactly correct.
In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Esmond is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim.
What? Metal? No! Metal can't... That's not... metal? No!
You've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal rim spectacles would be found in the same place.
Ah! My hypothesis!
Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed.
Wag!
Order! Counsel, what is the implication of this?
If on the day in question the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, and it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage, and in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit.
But my hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work.
If I could say something here in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society.
Yes, juror number 4? Go ahead.
As a man of science, there's only one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science.
What? Wait, great Scott, you're suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say that wreckage of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No, never. That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Disposition for Scientific Equipment Act.
What the devil is that blessed act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule?
I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Alright. The best way is to save the game. Whoops.
Objection!
Professor Harebrain has yet to perform his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so, what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public. He would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. If the government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed.
Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10?
You're an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year.
Oh, you could live handsome in that much for years.
The Society's noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently, and plenty of scientists argued with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you.
No, I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound, the science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success.
Barack.
And therefore, the only person who could possibly have committed this murder is the accused.
Barack.
Where is this heading? I've no idea. My lord, if I may.
Yes, Lord Van Zieks?
The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand.
New witnesses? What would the new nature of their involvement? Or what was the nature?
There were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition who were occupying special seats.
Eyewitnesses?
Very well, this court grants the prosecution's request.
I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident.
The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no postage. The accused killed the financier victim there, on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend.
Oh, yes?
It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord.
Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. Okay. So far, so good, I think, right? To be continued. All right. Time to talk to peoples for a bit.
I want to see who these witnesses are. I wonder if one's what's her name?
Mr. Naruhodo? What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at? What on earth were you playing at all along? Hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis. You've been picking holes in it from the start.
Ah, sorry about that.
But you promised me.
You said you'd prove that dreaded explosion was an accident, not murder.
You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands, but all you've done so far is try to undermine me.
Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you that I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there?
But if I just ran through some equations... Yes, you see, because my work is incomplete.
Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he?
Oh no!
You're right.
You're so right. It's all my fault, and I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being.
Well, that might be a little over the top.
And while we're on the subject... What about Barack? He's being awful.
Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean?
He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait, he's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore?
Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you?
Yes? What?
The machine and demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume. There was no trickery involved. I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet. But please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. Blech. All right, Professor, I understand.
Counsel, defendant. The prosecution's wishes are ready to take the stand. Our witnesses. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please.
It all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. A practical implementation such as was it attempted by the professor at the great exhibition is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? Good question. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes? Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective, so the defense testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect, a detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on this day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person who with the opportunity to have committed the act of murder is the only one under other individuals who have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. And they are... Oh boy. Oh boy. And I had a feeling it was her. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the Esperimento stage. My name is Wilhelm Gorstrich Sigismund Ormstein.
I've come to the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I'm very rich.
Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard.
I'm a great detective. Even Erlach Sholmes agrees. I was on security duty of the exhibition. I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing.
Gina, again.
But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. Well, guys, I am looking at the time,
and I do gotta go.
So thank you all for watching. Tomorrow we'll cross-examine the hot air balloon man, the child, and the other child who's a detective. But yep, take care everyone. Have a good one. See you tomorrow for more Lunar. And the finale of Star Wars game. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.